What is going on, YouTube world? I'm your brother Reza, Carrot Life with the Y. Like, subscribe, comment. In this video, I'm going to share my experience with y'all about living with and driving this Land Cruiser right here. 420,000 miles on it. Had it for 5 years. Gonna try my best to go over what my experience has been like owning and driving this vehicle and daily driving this vehicle over the last 5 years. Let me start off by saying this is the longest I've ever owned one single vehicle. Prior to this, I changed cars every 3 to 6 months before buying this. So what changed in my life? Well, COVID happened. So before COVID, I was driving a 2007 Porsche 997 and loved that car. COVID happened. Things happened with my job and all this kind of stuff. Long story short, I didn't want to keep such a expensive car with so much happening in the world and the uncertainty. So I sold it and got something very reliable and very cheap and very easy to maintain, a Toyota Land Cruiser. And 5 years later, I still drive this and daily drive it and love it. So I'm going to go over my experience with this car. I guess I'm going to jump right on in and start with maintenance. What type of maintenance have I done in this vehicle? Well, it hasn't been very much, but it's been a little bit. So under the hood here, we have the legendary V8 that Toyota is known for. It has been very good to me. The only maintenance I've had to do on this thing outside of filters and fluids and things like that has been the timing belt. The timing belt popped on me while I was moving the car in the neighborhood. Luckily, this is a non-interference engine, so the timing belt braking did not destroy the engine. Other major maintenance that I've had to do this was a fuel pump. Not really major, but it was pretty difficult to get to because if you've ever done a fuel pump on a 100 series, you pretty much got to pull the rear seat out and you got to pull up the carpet and you got to get under there, and then there's an access window where you can actually get to the fuel pump. So not very difficult. I actually did it really quick because we were supposed to go on a camping trip that day, and I did it super early in the morning, got that knocked out. And as you can see, that's when I had my timing belt done last. I don't know why I said timing chain. Don't know what I was thinking about. Sorry, it's been a long time since I've been vlogging, so I guess I'm getting kind of rusty. So yeah, fuel pump, timing belt. Other big one was the CV axles. Man, I did the CV axles on this thing, and woo, that was a hard job. You really can't see the CV axles from this angle, but y'all know that they are right there inside the axle. It was a difficult job. Saved a lot of money doing it, but I don't recommend it for the faint of heart. Those are the massive major repairs that I did on this vehicle. Only 3, and they were all under $1,000. Like the timing chain, the timing belt. Sorry, I don't know why I keep saying chain. The timing belt was relatively inexpensive. I think I paid like $1,200 for that. So a little bit over $1,000. Sorry. The CV axles was really, really cheap to rebuild. I forgot what the rebuild kit cost. I can go and find out and put it right here in the video. And the fuel pump, I want to say it was like $200 or $300 for the fuel pump. So very, very cheap maintenance versus old school Mercedes that I used to drive and Porsches that I used to drive prior to owning this. The smaller repairs I've had to do is normal wear items like brakes, tires, fluids, filters, spark plugs, inner and outer tie rod ends. I just did the diff mounts not too long ago. They were really, really worn out. And upper and lower control arm bushings. And that's pretty much been about it. Outside of filters and blah, 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 and these other little small things. Now, one thing that is amazing about this vehicle in my years of ownership is that everything still works on this vehicle as it should. Like literally all the lights, all the motorized mirrors, the sunroof still works. These windows still open. Everything on this car works. And coming from owning all those old German vehicles where, everything worked, but, things were kind of broken and blah, 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 old, Porsches, sometimes the headlights would get weird. It's very relieving, especially in this stage of my life, to have a car. I just stepped on my son's G-Wagon. To have a car this old and everything still working on it flawlessly. It is very nice and very, stress reducing to own a vehicle that is so reliable. And yeah, the last bullet point that I was going to talk about, affordable to main versus German cars. I've had very, very good results with my German cars, my G-Wagon, my 911s, the E55s that I used to have were all very reliable cars, but they were just expensive to maintain because parts were just so expensive for those cars. Versus this, every time I go in a Toyota dealership, everything is way cheaper. I mean, just like, for instance, getting a key made, a Porsche key is going to cost you $400 or $500 or something crazy like that. Versus getting a key made for this is like a quarter of that price. Actually, for this, probably even cheaper. Now, let's talk about the driving experience. So the driving experience in this car has been phenomenal. The 100 series in general is just a very good driving vehicle. Mine happens to have, let's see if I can show y'all real quick, Bilstein shocks on it. You can't see it. And they are very good. I really like them versus the 2005 that we had that had a little bit harsher of a ride. This one rides extremely smooth. The seats are extremely comfortable. Let me go and show you all my seats real quick. My seats are very damaged and messed up. I should have gone on the other side, but this is my passenger seat. That's what my driver's seat looks like after 400,000 miles. Would love to get that replaced one day. But that's something I'm going to talk about here in a second. But extremely comfortable seats. The visibility is so good in this car. Let me go around to the other side real quick and put my hood down so I can show y'all what I mean. When I say the visibility is really good on this. So my wife has a 200 series, as y'all know. And the 200 series is a lot bigger, and it is very comfortable car to drive. But the problem with the 200 series is visibility, in my personal opinion. You can't really see the edges of the front of the car and as good at the back of the car as you can in the 100 series. And to get around all that, the 200 series has all these sensors and cameras and all that kind of stuff, where this just has old school, good seating position. So you can see everything, and you can, like, when you're maneuvering through really tight spaces, you can get through them very easily with this car versus, the 200 series, like, it definitely feels a lot bigger. Like, I compare the way that this feels driving it sort of like in the direction of like G-Wagons, where the G-Wagons have the corner markers on the hood, so you know where your hood is when you're driving in tight spaces on the front end of your car. Versus like Tacomas, for instance, like the hood is up so high and so big, it makes it very difficult to navigate in tight conditions. So from that perspective, amazing, comfortable seats. Even though my seats are falling apart, let me show y'all once again. Even though my seats are falling apart, my seats are still extremely comfortable. I really want to do it like take my leather off and put a new steering wheel cover on. Haven't gotten around to that yet. Back seats are really nice and comfortable. I've sat in the back seat and rode for a long time. I've sat in the front seat and rode for a long time, and have found it very comfortable for long distance road trips. In our 2005 and in this one, or the 1999. We don't have the 2005 anymore, but clearly we still own this 1999 right here that I'm talking about y'all with. Okay, so off-road, and what am I talking about? Off-road and on-road mannerisms, good. Very smooth driving, plenty of space for family activities. So that's kind of what I was showing y'all. So even with my son's car seat back there, sorry for the frame rate, but even with my son's car seat back there, still plenty of space for all types of family activities. Plenty of space to put things in when you go to like IKEA runs and go in to pick up furniture. I mean, it's not a pickup truck, but you still have tons of space to put stuff. And I have my typical Toyota fanboy, what would you call this thing, platform that everybody has in these type of cars, from 4Runners to Land Cruisers. I use it to hide my fishing rod that I like to take around just in case my son wants to go on an impromptu fishing trip. Tools, little stuff like that, shopping bags, recovery stuff over there. Plenty of space to put stuff. Use this all the time. And that is one of the other things about driving something like this versus driving a 911. Like, a 911 is such a compromising vehicle, whereas something like this isn't something that you have to bend to. This is good in all situations whereas the 911 is good, but not necessarily good in all situations. Now, you can bend your life around a 911 for sure, but is it really the best car for everything all the time? That's debatable. Let's see. Flies very much under the radar. Let me just say that real quick while I'm talking about this. Everybody knows that driving a Land Cruiser, you can just stay under the radar. You don't have to worry about the things that come with driving flashy cars, and I'm gonna leave that at that. What else do I need to talk about? Cons. Okay, so cons of this car, first of all, relative to all the other vehicles that are out there in the world, it is a little slow. It is a little dated. The interior is a little old, retro looking, but I like the retro charm of it. And I don't really mind that it's slow, but I do wish it was a little bit faster sometimes compared to, like, a G63 or a G55 or a Cayenne Turbo. Yeah, those are fast. Yes, this is slow. That's the elephant in the room. Another con is that the insurance companies really want to total my car. So because of my super high mileage, right now I'm at 420,000 miles plus. Anytime anything happens to this car, the insurance company is quick to say, oh, we might have to total it. We might have to total it. And I'm just afraid that, driving this around, that one day something's going to happen and it's going to be something very minor, like what happened to our 2005, get hit right there. And they decide that, they are going to total my car. Very likely to happen driving around Atlanta. But I hope that it does not. And I hope I can get this car up to 500,000 miles. Other thing, clearly it drinks gas. I mean, it's an old school Toyota V8. Not the best gas mileage in the world. You're lucky to get 11 or 12 miles per gallon. But it gets you where you need to be. It does what it needs to do. It does it extremely reliably. Everything works. It's just been the ultimate car for me. And I actually love this car so much because the first car that I ever had was a Toyota van. And it was very reminiscent of this. It was one of those old school prism shaped Toyota vans, if y'all know what I'm talking about, from the 80s. That was my first car. And I loved that van because it had so many cool features in such a weird shape. And I feel kind of the same about the 100 Series Land Cruiser. Lots of really cool features in a really cool shape. Or, well, I guess that could be debatable. Some people might think it's not the best shaped vehicle in the world, but I love it. And then another thing. Every panel on my car is scratched, is dented already. It's, like stuff like this. So I don't have to worry about, oh man, like when I had my 911, one day I dropped a hammer on my 911. Don't ask me how it happened, but it did. And I remember feeling nauseous and sick to my stomach. And I thought to myself then in that moment, there should be no reason on this planet why I love an inanimate object so much. It's just a car. And with this, even though I love it, if something happens to it, if it gets a nick here, a scratch there, just wear and tear and abuse from daily use, it doesn't really matter. If my son crashes something into it, or if I get little dents like back here, it does not matter because every panel on this car has a scratch or a dent. So I'm very happy driving it. I don't have to worry when I go places about somebody scratching it up because you can't possibly scratch it up worse than it's already scratched. And it's just such a cool truck. And yeah, I love driving it. I love driving it every day. I know it's extremely dirty right now, but that's the reality of, being a parent and raising kids and being married and not having time to do anything, let alone vlog. So anyway, I'm going to summarize it there. That's what it's been like daily driving my 1999 100 Series Land Cruiser with over 400,000 miles. Love this thing. It never has left me stranded, knock on wood. And it has been a very simple, stress-free experience owning this car, and I still love it. And hopefully one day I can get it up to 500,000 miles, but we'll see what happens because insurance companies do what they do. So we will see y'all in the next vlog. Yeah. See you on the next one. Peace. Carrot Life. Carrot Life for the Y.